For this is my first. This is not my first SAC anime, but it's my first SAC anime, Roseville.
Yeah, sir. We started doing the spring show just a couple years back, and this is just kind of we've had the time to add another show during the year, and figure why not.
And then Roseville, I haven't been around these parts before. This is like a really cool city.
It's I grew up not too far from here, so Roseville used to be a little bit separated from everything else, but as Sacramento has grown and whatnot, it's all kind of become interconnected. But Roseville has kind of always been more of the upper scale part of the town.
I just like how green it is.
It's very nice
over here. Yeah, because in LA, it's like I feel like when they're constructing things in LA, they're like, get that tree out of here, cut that grass out, kill those animals. We need a building there. But here it's there's actually this sense of like, oh no, we this place, we kind of share it with everything.
Yeah, they like it to have the trees. They like it to look nice. And
yeah,
definitely.
Where that comes from is if you all have stopped by and you've seen our stuff about the humane beings. If you follow us online, thank you. That's awesome. If you don't, what is wrong with you? But thehumanebeings.org, that's our website. We're about 6 months old. And so we are, instead of being an animal sanctuary ourselves, which is what we were going to do, we're actually a foundation that raises funds and awareness about shelters and rescues. Because there are already so many great rescues out there. There's over 5,000 just in the U.S. And so I thought, well, why should we join that crowded space when every single rescue and shelter, what are two things that they all have problems with, and it's a common thread: funding and awareness. They don't have the bandwidth because they're busy doing what? They're taking care of their animals, right? So they're at the end of the 24/7 mission that is taking care of their animals. They're supposed to then work on funding and marketing. How does that fit in there? So we're kind of like the animal rescue maids. We come in and try to do those chores for you. So we're at thehumanebeings.org, and if you want to support us by following us, yes, that's awesome. If you want to make a tax-deductible donation, you text the word humane to 801-801, and you're all set. Just some of the places that we've been to. We were in El Dorado. We went to the animal shelter in El Dorado, worked with them. They were crucial when the Caldor fires happened. They took in 600 animals overnight and worked tirelessly for weeks to make sure those animals were taken care of, healed, rehomed, found their homes that they thought they'd lost. They were awesome. Caldor fire was, as I'm sure you know, that was a big deal. Then we went to the Lions, Tigers, and Bears rescue.
Oh my!
Which is every time, which is near San Diego, and some of the tigers from Tiger King were rescued to there, and so we went there. And what we do is we volunteer. Our crew comes out. We volunteer for a weekend. We film them, interview them, and then we make a donation at the end. And then we go to another spot. So we've just started releasing our Lions, Tigers, and Bears rescue footage and interviews. And we try to raise awareness about them. And we give them a big old cartoon check at the end. It's a real check, but it's a cartoon check that you can't you know what I mean. And then next weekend, we're going to the largest bat rescue in the world. And so we're going to go help them with their bats. And then after that, there's a kind of a surprise spot that we're going to fill in later in the year after the summer. There's the paws rescue, the elephant rescue that's near here, right? We're gonna head over there, and then we're going to Zimbabwe to work with rhinos and giraffes and such. So it's a lot. We're doing it, but it's for a good cause, of course. When the fires happened in LA, we worked with the Pasadena Humane Society and the Burbank Animal Shelter and stuff in town to help them get some supplies and such. So it's a lot of hats to wear, but worth it when you see those animals feeling safe and comforted. And it's awesome for us to see talking about good humans, finding those good humans that are taking care of those animals, and to add to the good humans that are already here, some of y'all work with animals too, and that's like extra awesome. So thehumanebeings.org is our organization. So when I'm not in the booth, whether it's banking moats across the universe and taking on Elixni and Destiny, or I'm hoping, whether I'm doing that or I'm hoping that we get another season of a show about host clubs, or if I'm working on trying to be as symmetrical as I possibly can, I'm thinking about animals. So that's what takes up my free time. But yeah, check it out, thehumanebeings.org. And we actually have, I think we're sold out now. But my first children's book, Mrs. H and I had Squirm. Squirm was his name, a little 12-pound pup. And he passed last year, unfortunately. But I wrote a kid's book about him, which became a tribute about him. But the proceeds of that book go towards our nonprofit. And that's also at thehumanebeings.org. But we had copies here, and we have like lanyards and pins that we give you and all that fun stuff. And we've got more stuff coming, so it's on the way. So that's been fun it's been fun but scary to dive into a world that I don't, because initially I just want to help animals, right? But of course, there's all these things that go in between. It's like when you come to a convention. You're like, I just want to go to a con. Well, okay, got to book a hotel. What are you going to do about food? Are you going to fly there? Okay, so there's all these things, like here's your goal, but there's all these steps in between, and that's what it's like with animal shelters and rescues. So figuring that out. And then outside of that, I do a lot of audiobooks. Because audiobooks, people come up and they talk about how they're big audiobook listeners. So you'll catch me as like the narrator, one of the narrators, because there's a lot of them, of the Star Wars High Republic audiobooks.
Nice. And
then I do a lot of lit RPG. Do you guys know what that lit RPG is? For those of you that read audiobooks read books. Lit RPG, which I didn't know about till I started narrating them, is a genre of book where, like, for example, Sarah? I remembered. Sarah, with the fairy tale shirt. So let's say, Sarah, you go to bed tonight, and you wake up in the morning, and you wake up in a pub, and you don't know how you got there. If this were the lit RPG book, you would wake up in that pub, and now you are basically in a video game. And like, you know how you have a heads-up display for your menu and stuff? That's just like natural. Like, people don't even bat an eye at that. They're just like, oh yeah, let me check my stats. Okay, boom. And you live the world through this video game. You ain't getting home. Like, that's out. Like, you're done. You're in that world. And so this is a very popular genre I've discovered. And so so all the different stories that I narrate, they all come at it from a different angle. And it's funny because I think each author thinks they're the only one writing a lit RPG series, and then these other ones will pop up, but they're all like a little bit of a different angle. So doing a lot of that. And then I suspect there are some people in here that watch anime. I just co-directed a show called The Fable on Hulu, which the dub just came out last month. And we had people like Steve Bloom in it, Eric Bauza, who else? Man, tons of folks. We had Michael Sinner Nicholas, who is also here, was in it. And so that's a fun show about basically it's John Wick told to if John Wick didn't retire but was told to go hide out and lay low for a year and try to create a normal life, it's that. So it's on Hulu. Video game wise, it was so fun yesterday. I got to blow someone's mind because they just started playing video games. They'd never played video games before, and they just started playing. And I was like, well, what system do you have? And like, PS5. I'm like, well, what game are you playing? And they go, Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter Wilds.
Ah.
And I said, when you created your character, which voice did you pick? And he goes, oh, just the first one, whatever the default voice is. You're playing as me. So if you're playing Monster Hunter and you pick the first voice, that's me. And so I'm happy to slay monsters with you on that journey. I like this Monster Hunter because like I played Monster Hunter, but not a lot because I always felt bad for the monsters because they're just sitting there living their life. And then out of the woods comes a dude with a gigantic weapon to just kill it. And it's just like feeding its babies. Whereas in this Monster Hunter, like the monsters you take on are like actually trying to kill you and destroy villages and stuff. That I can get behind. But when they're just like, oh, they're having like a little selfie moment by the waterfall and here I come to slaughter them, all of them. No, I don't like that. Humanebeings.org. So Monster Hunter. And then what other game? I'm trying to think of the ones that I can talk about.
Well, you said killing Elixni, so you're in Destiny?
Yes, that one, I think I could, even though we're working on it, that's been out. That's a cool thing because with Destiny 2, the Drifter, I've been the Drifter for, I guess Destiny 2's been out for 8 years now.
A while now, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun to work on and to see how that character is changed over the years. And so we just released the second part of the latest DLC, Heresy, just came out on the video game side. And then original cartoon wise, have they released it yet? Has Max and the Midnights come out yet?
Not that
It's a Nickelodeon cartoon. Do you know about you know about the show? Is that out?
It should be, but I think it's been out for like a couple of months.
Okay. Yes. Okay, that show, check that out. Very beautiful animation. Awesome looking show. Very, very cool. And then I'm trying to go down the list of genres to think about things. Podcasts, if you're into podcasts, I know about this group. They're a nonprofit. They're called the Humane Beings. They have a podcast. You can check that out. It's the podcast version of their monthly newsletter in case you don't want to read a newsletter and you just want to hear it instead. Both are great. Did I cover all the genres? Is there another genre? Commercials? The commercial coming out is Toyota. There's a Toyota commercial coming out. What other genres? Live action? Danger Force. If you watch Danger Force, Henry Danger, all that, he was the bad guy for the last season. What's it? The one is coming. The mask guys with the mask, hoodies and masks. That was all those guys. Yeah, check it out. I think I covered all the genres. Instructional manual, didn't do that one.
Music.
Music. I did sing a song for what show? I can't say the show yet, but it's a show on Netflix that... Here's the thing with Netflix shows, I feel. Every Netflix show that comes out is always like number 1 or 2 or 3 in the world that week. And then the next Monday, you've never heard of it. Isn't it weird how how we consume info like entertainment like that?
Everything goes so fast. There's just so much of it.
Yes. Years ago, it'd be like, oh man, your show was like number 3 on the planet out of the number 3 in the world. That was like something that carried you through to the end of the year. Now it's like, oh,
you were number 3 last week.
Yeah. Did we like Squid Game? Yeah, Squid Game was like the biggest thing on the planet. And then when season 2 came out, that's how I felt about when GoldenEye came out, the remaster of GoldenEye, a year and a half ago. For like 30 years, everyone's like, give us GoldenEye. We need it. It's the greatest Nintendo 64 game ever. And then Rare's finally like, all right, we're going to release it. And then they put it out there for half a day. People were like, oh my God, it's finally here. Never heard of it again.
Yeah. If Final Fantasy VII, same way. The Final Fantasy VII remaster, Resident Evil 2 remaster. It's like, hey, there it is.
We are we are all the entertainment family's evil stepkids, all of us as an audience. Give me more, Father. I don't like that remake. But son, you wanted the remake. Yes, I did 15 minutes ago. I don't want that remake anymore. And then it's like, they work on it for years and years. And it's like, here's son, here's another, here's, you want the part 2 of the part 7 remake? I don't like this. Take it away. And then that's it. And then Squid Game season 2, tens of thousands of people work on it. They work on it around the clock forever and ever and ever to get this beautiful season 2 out. And you're like, yawn, watched it all in one sitting. I'm done now. And we're like hungry for more. But on the same note, if any of those services like Netflix, Paramount Plus, Hulu, Amazon Prime, if they just didn't release anything new for like 6 months, I would not notice. But working with those companies, you would think that they need to release something new every single day. But the way our deadlines are, like when we're working on a show, like we gotta meet this deadline, but like nobody notices if nothing new comes out because there's like a million.
Yeah, there's just so much.
It's like Apple Music. It's like we have access to 150 million songs. I listened to the same 12 albums. Like it's weird. Like we have all this access to it, yet we'll never leave like this little slice of where you're at. Yeah. So I think
infinite information, infinite knowledge, and I'm comfortable right here.
I like being right here. Don't give me any more shows. Don't talk to me. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah, I feel like that's how we are in general with like shows and movies and oh my gosh, movies especially. They're like, give us, oh my God, it'd be such a fever dream if Godzilla and King Kong fought. Oh, that'd be insane. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll not only give you one, we'll give you multiple versions of that movie. I don't want to watch it in the theater. Put it on my television at home. I want to watch it from the comfort of my home. It's like we can't even go to the theater for it. They're like, they spent $250 million on these movies, and they're like, can you just come out to the theater for like, you know what, we'll even show it multiple times a day. Well, you know what, we'll put it in every theater in America. Please just go see it. No. Like, that's us. That's the audience. That's all of us, and we still want more. Yeah. It's crazy. So that's why I feel so lucky and fortunate to be a part of things that when it gets put in front of you, you're like, oh, I quite like this. Mm-hmm. I'll watch more of this, and I'm going to watch it again and again. Like, I'm happy, very thankful to be in those little TV dinners of entertainment consumption that people will, munch on. And so that's why I was like, man, when we got more 100-Year Quest, when we got the 100-Year Quest, and then we're getting another season, that's exciting for me. I'm happy for that. I think it was a little crazy to call the last season of Fairy Tale the final season when we then came out with another season. I don't think that word means what you think it means.
Why do you keep using that word?
Yeah, but I'm happy that we're doing it. But yeah, so there's lots of, I think I covered all the genres. Something in every genre. There we go.
What's the weirdest line you've recorded for Hikaru?
So I don't have any siblings. So when I saw that show, I'm like, well, I guess if I had a brother, this is how it would go. Any of the lines where, like, the one that always sticks out in my head is the cookie. Like I'm gonna feed this cookie to, the scene I'm talking about. That was a little unorthodox, I'll say. I try to use weird sparingly, because going back to what I was just talking about, there are perspectives that I don't see and I don't know. So I'll say unorthodox. But that probably.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If Death the Kid and Natsu swapped places, Death the Kid in Fairy Tale and Natsu in Soul Eater, what kind of magic would Kid have, and what kind of weapon would Natsu have?
Natsu would have, so Happy would turn into a giant Zippo. And then I think for Death the Kid, his magic would be like, kind of like Shikadai a little bit, where it's like shadow magic. That'd be kind of fun. Shadow magic would be cool. Like, I feel like when I'm thinking about what powers that I would have, well, I mean, I've already decided today. I found 2 great powers that I was going to have today that I didn't think about before. I would want to have Juvia's ability. I was talking about that earlier, like water, so they could put out all the wildfires and then like go to like lakes that need more water and just be like stand there for like 3 hours and like fill it up with like 10 million gallons of water. And then the other power that I always want, that one's a little harder because like if people see you doing that, all of a sudden the government's going to try to come get you, try to clone you, and then you have to spend like 3 or 4 movies breaking out of the facility, and then you find out at the end they actually did make a clone of you. You got to fight the clone, but they know all your moves, you know all their moves. And I don't know, I don't have time for that because humanebeings.org. But I guess I would want the power to speak any and every language known to man, animal, and technology. So any programming language, I want to speak any animal language and any human language and every dialect on the planet. Then I would go to when they're making the next season of Fairy Tale, and I'd go up to Tetsuo, who is the Seiyu, and I'd be like, it's not personal. And I'd be like, and then I'd go to the sessions and do my own original language Japanese version of Natsu, and then come back to America and do it in English. And then I'd go around the country and do it in every language, is what I would do. Because you can't study that, because the government would just be like, wow, that's a nerdy kid with languages. He just knows all the languages. They would never think like, oh, that's actually a power, we should study that. Unless I start getting like Jake Paul with it and start doing like cocky stuff online. If I just keep it cool, like a gangster, and just laid back, just don't flaunt it. Yeah, I could speak every language known to man. Then I can get away with it, And I'm just dubbing myself in all the different languages all the time. That's just all I do. That's what I would do.
Thank you. I love your work.
Thank you. Thank you for watching and playing.
What role made you learn the most about yourself?
The role that made me learn the most about myself. I don't know yet, because I try to be open to learning even at this point. And I think that's one thing that I think that's a superpower. I will say I have a lot of lame superpowers. So, and I don't know why I don't get flight or invisibility or anything, but all my superpowers could be considered a little lame. Lame superpower being, I still don't feel like I know it all, because there are some people that you would understand. Like if anyone who has accomplished something in any field, I would not be surprised if they were like masters of that field. It makes sense. And on paper, I've been doing this a minute. And so it would lend one to believe that maybe what I might think is, as we do with anything, when your dad tries to mow something in the backyard, like, I've been mowing lawns for 30 years, I know how to do this. Replace mowing lawns with anything, right? So of course with voiceover, with acting, if someone's been doing it for like over 30 years, they probably think they know all of it, right? Well, my superpower is self-shame. So I know that I don't know it all. But I think that's a superpower, meaning because of that, I'm open to being challenged and trying different things behind the mic and different, like I was in this anime that came out called Sakamoto Days. I was one of the villains in that, and I tried something new that I might not have tried had I thought I knew it all. Because there are some actors that get in there and they give you, and I'm not going to say their names because I know them, and they give you the same thing, they're like when I go to I don't eat straight up candy bars anymore, but when I am waiting to check out and I see a score bar, I know that score bar is going to taste the same whether it's at that supermarket or the one in Canada or the one in New York or the one in Florida. I know that no matter where I get that score bar, it's going to taste the same. And there's some actors like that. No matter what the role is, you're going to get that same flavor. So I try to be the antithesis to that if I can. I try to at least change something with it. And what I hope that does is that will keep me in that place of learning to where I can always try to learn something. I always want to try to learn something. I always want to try to get better and improve, because I think it's a trap for us to think that we know everything about any one thing. We can know a lot about it. Like for me, I would say that I actually know very little about voiceover. I know a lot about me in my relation to voiceover. So it's like, I know how to drive the car that is Todd, but I don't know how to make every car. I don't know how to fix and diagnose every car. I don't know what every car is, but I know everything about the car that is Todd, right? Does that kind of make sense? So that's how I feel I try to approach VO. So I don't know which one has taught me the most yet. I think when I learn the most is when I feel my ego popping up, saying like, when it tries to act like that little spoiled boy. That's when I learn a lot, because then I'm like, oh, I'm getting triggered here. What's doing this? So I think that's going along the lines of what you're talking about with like self-care and stuff like that. That's when I'm trying to like focus on and always be cognizant of the learning things that I can do in any situation, whether it's behind the mic or not.
That's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much, and love you on Sergeant Frog.
Yes, thank you so much. Kiddo.
What video requests do you get the most when you're at your autograph table?
You know what's interesting? So the video requests I get, they actually, the most I get are ones where people need a boost of positivity. That's the one I get the most. And a lot of times, people will get it for themselves or for a friend. And that makes me, I do wonder, in a good way, I guess, I wonder why. Because I feel like, remember when I first came in here and I said, if you go by the internet, you'd think the world is just full of assholes. I think that's why. Is because we get addicted, because the programs are built to get you on them all the time. And so when we're doom scrolling, we get that anxiety kicks up, and we're so anxious and we're so full of stress. But we can't stop it because the algorithm, we're in the net. And so then we get addicted to the stress. And so then they need some release from it, and they want a video of positivity, which I'm happy to do, but I wish we were in a world where that didn't need to happen, ultimately. Again, happy to do it, but then I wonder why? And so that's what I would say is I get the most is to ask for just a note of positivity. Yeah. So I hope that's why I like when people come to conventions, because I feel like that's where it's such a positive place, and people make new friends, and I've seen people meet their future partner, their wife or their husband at a convention. There's a lot of positive things that happen at cons, and I'm glad that people take the chance to come out to conventions and get out of their shell to do that. And so I hope to see more of that, continue to see more of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You had showed a scene you dubbed over from John Wick.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was an audition for a video game.
Yes.
I wanted to ask whatever happened with that.
I did that, and what did happen with that? Oh, I was told that's like a spot-on John Wick impression, but that they're not moving forward with it at that time, the game at that time, and they didn't, because the one they made was voiceless, right? So that the production just didn't happen. Because a lot of times they'll, like for example, Blade, the new Blade that was coming out, they've shelved that.
Yep.
So like they'll want to make something and they'll get all the pieces together, and then there's so many steps that happen between the announcement up until the first frame gets shot, and they're done. It's so strange the how things get made.
How often would you say that happens in your experience?
For me and the stuff that I work on, every now and then, usually when I come on board, it's pretty much ready to rock. Like, save for like video games or original animation cartoons, but they're like already in the pipeline. Like for I directed a show called Mech Cadet U on Netflix. It's based on the manga. We had Daniel Dae Kim in it, and Ming-Na Wen, who was the voice of Mulan, she was in it. And that one was just the scripts, and so we recorded it and they animated it to the voices that we got. That one was like really early stages, and then that got made and fully realized. That's typically how it'll go. But there are some where it's just like, boop, it's done, and it just never happens for a variety of funding fell through, or now the companies that were making it feel like, oh, that genre's not hot right now, so we need to. I've done a couple of Disney productions where one was an anime and one was like it was a dub of a cartoon, but it's not anime. It was just like Miraculous Ladybug. When we work on Ladybug, that's a French cartoon that we're dubbing into English, basically. So that, but for another country, and then a Disney cartoon, but both were Disney products. They didn't get released. We did the whole thing. There was a show that I was the lead in, an anime that I was the lead in, and did not get released. We did every episode. And I kind of was sensing that it wasn't going to get released, because as we're working on it, I couldn't believe Disney was doing this. It was a show that was like, the subject matter was it was like, I'm like, this is going to get on the air? I'm looking at the director, and the director's like, like, we don't know. And so I was like, okay, here we go, roll it. But it was like, yeah, that one I get. If it didn't go, I can suspect why. But yeah, generally the stuff when I come into the project is already like pretty much a done deal, thankfully.
Unfortunately, we are at the end of our time.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's all
hey,
right.
You know what? Thank you.
No, thank you.
And also, y'all, I every time it's because if you've been with me at another con before, it's the reality of it. It is amazing to me that you all have your passion turns